An undoubtedly familiar face to many of you. The queen of InsurTech herself, Sabine Vanderlinden. Sabine boasts 25 years of experience delivering growth strategies within the insurance industry. She is the recipient of 4 UK Innovation Awards and founder of Europe's largest InsurTech accelerator. We're honored that Sabine has given us the benefit of her deep knowledge on the fascinating subject of Gen AI. So please give her a warm welcome.
Hello, hello, Amsterdam. So, let's get started. I clicked too fast. Sorry. So, I would like to actually go beyond generative AI. I'm going to redefine the operating model of insurance for you. So, imagine a world where you can actually use this little device, right, your healthcare device here, where you can actually update that data in real times and be able to process that through the insurance process. This is the same for your telematics car. This data can be provided to insurers today to actually improve the way premium is being created. And it is the same now for a lot of things. But what is a crucial point here is we are moving from a world of digitization to a world of digitalization. And I want to get into a bit of a story so that we can actually start understanding where emerging tech coming to us right now is bringing us into the future. So what is digitization? So it's about taking analog data, moving it into digital format to improve the way we process things, vast amount of data. We've talked a lot of data over the past 2 days, to store it, to analyze it. Now, when you think about a very simple example, which is a picture of behind the word, is when you think about a camera, right? A picture now has been converted into a digital format. Now, when you think about digitalization, this refers to the strategic improvement, adoption, integration of digital technology, digital assets into business processes. Think about your operational environment, but also it is there to actually change the business environment of an organization. So if we actually can use that data effectively, we can make better data-driven decisions. So taking my mobile phone, right, my iPhone now, digitalization means that the data from the picture I'm taking from that iPhone can now be transferred to my computer, but now with generative AI, it can also be manipulated, edited, and changed. Why this is important? Well, we live and work in a world where we have more and more tech-savvy individuals. I'm sure some of you may have bought some Nike shoes. There are 12 different ingredients to your the way you can design your shoes now. And that is a type of personalization we are actually seeing more and more coming to market. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of scenario. Here is Julia. Julia is one of our futurist Gen Z. She actually has a self-driving car. She actually uses AR, VR glasses when she's in a self-driving car. She has Hermione as a virtual assistant, now probably going to be a digital human for her. But what is the most exciting in her life is those tiny bots, actually, which is around her body, able to monitor everything which is happening there. So when you think about her life, everything is controlled by technology. So her home has a lot of different sensors and devices, enabling her to actually manage who is coming in and out. When you look at the self-driving car, she can actually click on a button and drop a drone-delivered dress into the booth, or make sure that when she does the shopping, she can actually buy ethically relevant goods. All this is linked to some level of technology. But is that far-fetched, this scenario? Well, no. Most of the technology which is in Julia's scenario is either being developed right now, 5 years away, or 30 years away. So everything is already there. And now when we look at this in the context of insurance, well, when you start looking at a health monitoring aspect of life, you can actually start using all those different data points to help her make better decisions, but the underwriting can be far more predictive and intuitive. When you look at aspect of the behavioral within Julia's life, underwriters can actually use the data to actually identify whether something is going to happen or not. So that's where we're actually starting into the prevent and predict environment we often talk about. When you look at fraud, Hermione is controlling the life of Julia. So she can, if there's a claim, she can actually provide the data to actually make sure that claims is valid, but also see when things are wrong, when those such claims are submitted. But because we live in a highly interconnected world, one thing which is going to be very important is that all the digital environment where Julia lives is actually also part of the fact that she needs to look at cybersecurity and cyber insurance too. So opportunity to manage the digital asset. So I love this quote from Douglas Adams. Anything that is in the world when you're born is just a natural part of the way we live in this current world. So think about the Gen Alpha, your children. I assume many of you in the room as little kids, right? The first things they do, they grab the iPhone, the iPad, right? And they already are pretty much tech savvy since they are toddlers. My teenage, Emilia, my 8-year-old goddaughter cannot, when she comes to my home, leave my iPhone on the side. Then anything inventing between when you are 15 and 35 is actually quite exciting and new. I remember 20 years ago, I was actually a strategic consultant for IBM PwC. I love doing those digital transformation projects, going from one insurer to the other to actually help them transform their business. Can I ask you, how many people in this room is over 35? Lift of hand. How many is over 35? The last part of this quote is for you. Anything invented after you are 35 is against the order of nature and should be banned. Do we like this Gen AI? I think some of us are not really comfortable with it. Some of us are fearful about the capabilities offered by Gen AI, but that is part of life. It's going to happen. We cannot get away from it. So I want to get through some numbers so that to show you where the tech world has been. And this is all the data we monitor within Alchemy Crew. So while in 2023 we had a little bit of a tough year, things are pretty much even now. Half year, we probably will do very well this year in terms of tech investment. Our best year was in 2018, but 2021 was pretty good as well. Around 12 trillion has been investing in tech startup. You know, unicorns, I'm sure Tiffany would probably agree with me. We don't measure things anymore in terms of unicorn. We need decacorn on hexacorn nowadays. But 35 to 40% of those startups are getting funded. So that is approximately 1,900,000 ventures out there. This year, based on my data, we are going to do pretty well in terms of investment. We are coming back, probably because of AI. We are estimating 1.6 trillion of investment in tech startups. So now I want to go horizontal. And that, again, it's all investment. So there is approximately 1.6 trillion being invested in enterprise applications. So when you think about enterprise application, think about infrastructure, AI infrastructure, cybersecurity, cloud computing, all the big tech which allows the platforms to work. Then $1.2 trillion into consumer tech. Think about fashion tech, food tech, H-Tech, we heard Christiana earlier today talk about longevity, big topic. We can see investment is going into H-Tech. EdTech as well, educational technology. So platforms to educate people is a big area where investment is coming in as well. When we look at high tech, think about deep tech. Again, AI services and generative AI will fit into that. Retail, I will repeat myself, we look fashion, but that we are going to look into e-commerce and marketplaces there as well. And then when you look at fintech, which is pretty much the same as retail, insurtech fit into that. You will have approximately 10% of investment going into insurance technology. So $758 billion being invested in fintech, $75 billion being invested in insurtech, 140,000 fintech out there, 7,500 insurtech. Again, remember, those are the big numbers. Already, only 25 to 30% of those companies are getting investment. So now I want to go into the technology buckets. I mean, all this comes together. Imagine you have a box by big box, and then you start seeing how really investment in technology is going. No surprise, right? Artificial intelligence is where most of the money is currently going, and you can actually see already we are around 25 billion at midpoint right now. Followed by Internet of Things, to connect the data to the sensors, followed by cloud. A lot of large enterprises now are making significant investment in cloud computing. We need to move away from the legacy debt. Some of the stats shows that 50% to 72% of insurance companies are today investing in cloud technology. Some big project that Entity Data mentioned when I arrived on Tuesday in Amsterdam highlight that some of the big players are planning to move 80% of their system into the cloud within the next 3 to 4 years. And no surprise, big data and quantum are here as well. So now let's look at the vertical, fintech, health tech, insurtech. So the biggest place where fintech investment is taking place right now include online banking, right? Everybody is using Stripe. At some point or another, we are doing transaction with Stripe. And many businesses, we are beginning e-commerce, business and marketplaces, will have a payment platform behind the scene. Alternative payment, we heard this morning from Paulo Monteiro about the protection gap. Well, part of protection gap means providing people ability to earn living. So we see more and more alternative lending platform coming to bear. And with no surprise, embedded finance. Embedded finance includes embedded insurance. This represents around $52 billion in investment funding. Last year was the biggest year with $20 billion invested. For sure, we had the $10 billion from Microsoft as well in there. Health tech. Once upon a time, we needed to go to the doctor, and the doctor would tell us what we had. More and more in the future, we will be able to take technology, to use technology to really understand our ailments. And there's a lot of investment going into R&D drug discovery, but also into helping us self-diagnose as well. Booking system, telemedicine. We heard about S360 this morning, which is all these platforms enabling people to self-serve. And employee benefits are 3 of the largest area of investment in health tech. And when you start looking at insurtech, no doubt, I mentioned that 50 to 72% of insurers are looking to move away from legacy debt, to move their system into the cloud. Policy admins, number 1. Insurance as a service, number 2, with an angle with embedded insurance in there, and digital-first business model. So digital-first companies' business model where everything it does seamlessly, personalized, and real-time is where a lot of investment is going. But now it's a little bit more confusing than that, because when you look at companies, they are not just going at insurtech or health tech or fintech, and it's why I always cut the numbers in various ways, because When you start looking, for example, at healthcare, you will need a payment platform if you are going to digitize for your booking system and making sure that potentially you work with the hospital and other partner into an ecosystem to actually deliver a seamless customer experience. So investment in technology is not linear. It's actually very distributed, and it is actually ecosystem-based as well. So where are those emerging technology going to take us? So that is just a lens as to the impact of technology on the operating model or the value chain of insurance. So first, product development. We are going to see much more personalized product being developed, more accurate and more responsive product offering offered to a customer as the business becomes far more customer-centric. Marketing and inside generative AI is where a lot of the investment actually has taken place to start with, because we can test and feel the outcomes. So much more real-time campaigns and feedback loop taking place. Sales and distribution. We are going to see, not only internally but externally, our agent becoming far more predictive and able to support our customer base. But we are actually going to see as well improvement around servicing, claims management, and financial accounting departments. So could not actually go into all the boxes, but just highlighted some. And some of the ventures which I've highlighted below is only a segment of probably 350, 400 companies, generative AI companies we actually analyzed over the past 6 to 7 months. You have a lot of companies already helping us develop new products and doing that customization. In marketing, we can now do truly personalized campaigns. Once upon a time, when I did my MBA 25 years ago, we used to quote the segment of one, the statement, when are we going to do that segment of one? I think today, with the technology we have, we are nearly able to actually personalize content to that individual customer. Underwriting will become more dynamic, algorithmic. We're actually hearing a lot of those terms more and more at the moment. Lead prioritization, when you start thinking about your agents, they will become much more enabled to actually select who they want to sell a product with, what are the leads which are most relevant for them, and so on and so on. I think I want to also highlight that we have seen a lot in that conference, claims settlement and dynamic environments using technology to improve the claims process. But some of the initiative and some of the innovation will also be in other departments such as HR or finance. One big case study I worked on over the past 6 months is IBM. Reduce the HR department using generative AI from 700 people to 50. Using generative AI, 700 people to 50. So these are the type of improvement we need to actually be aware that is going to be happening as we start delivering with new technology. But it's not all. The future of work, the jobs of the future are going to change. What we are going to see is far more new roles coming to market. I've just highlighted a few, which I think for me are the most interesting one, but that's a personal view. Consumer psychologists, whilst we are using technology and AI, at the end of the day, we still need a human in the loop. Creativity, design thinking, or thinking ability, problem solving, decision making will still come from a human. And so you are going to see more consumer psychologists really working on really understanding customer behavior. We are going to see data ethnographists really understanding culture and ethics and really trying to understand how we deliver the products in the future, which are actually ethical products that customer wants. Sales and distribution, our agents will need to look at the customer and teach the customer about the product, but also manage portfolio, become trusted advisors. Underwriters, as well as compliance officers, are going to become ethical underwriter, ethical compliance officer, integrating what they actually learn from the advancement of technology and making sure that they do not put their businesses or the company they're working with into compliance issues or regulatory issues. I just want to say this quote, my final quote from William Gibson, who wrote about the cyberpunk. But this quote from William Gibson, "The future is already here," it is not just evenly distributed. It was in The Economist in 2003. And I think it's still highly relevant today. So remember, it's all about customization in the end.